The 250 Interim, one could say, was the bridge between the Tour de France Berlinetta and the short wheelbase Berlinetta. It is a very rare model that many people just don't realise that it's there. At a glance, one would think it's a short wheelbase. Visually, the Interim Berlinetta has a small portal window behind the main door glass in the sail panel. So we come to chassis number 1519 GT. This is an Interim Berlinetta, one of only 7 produced during the latter part of 1959. It was sold to a Swiss driver, Jean-Pierre Schiele, who subsequently raced it only a couple of times during the latter part of the year. The first was in the Tour de France Auto in September of '59, where he finished a very respectable 3rd overall, sharing the car with a French driver, Roger de la Jeunesse. After running the car in the Tour Auto, he then raced it only once more, which is in the Coupe du Salon in Montlhéry outside of Paris, where he finished first in the GT class. And the car went back to Ferrari, where it was converted to disc brake specification, which was the specification of the upcoming short wheelbase model. In that form, it was sold in March of 1960 to Luigi Canetti in New York, who had a buyer named John Bunch. In John Bunch's ownership, the car was raced during 1960 by Dean McCarthy in national races in the US, but after that it appears not to have had any further competition history, which is good for the car because it meant that it wasn't going to get knocked about and damaged, and it subsequently went on to be used only for road use. And in fact, one of the owners after John Bunch was Bob Grossman, a well-known Ferrari race driver. In 2014, the car went to Ferrari Classiche for their certification process and was a recipient of their Red Book, which means that it fully complies with its original specification as it left the factory. The relatively short period race history meant that the car didn't suffer the ravages that many of its counterparts did in period. So the car, as we see it presented today, is in exactly the same form as it last left the factory in March 1960, resplendent in its red livery with a white stripe, which is also the way it first left the factory to its Swiss owner in August 1959. It's actually quite amazing to think that this is the rarest of all the 250 GT Berlinettas produced.